Hello everyone, welcome back to another Raiders video. In this video, we'll just get into it. So the Raiders have now officially hired Antonio Pierce as the next head coach. After about 3 days of the Rooney Rule being officially filled out, and now it is official. The Raiders have hired Antonio Pierce. Seems like he was the main option since about day one, really, since the season ended. But happy to see it officially happen. Of course, happy that most of the fan base agrees on it. There's no split like there was previously, and we all I think kind of get hope from this, right? I think we can improve under him. We already did improve under him in 9 games, right? The penalties, the least penalized team in the league. Defense, with how that got adjusted, right? Played a lot better in the second half of the season defensively, and that was during the season without an off season. So no free agency, no draft, not even a trade deadline, because they got the job the same day as the draft. Sorry, the same day as the trade deadline passing. Now also, Champ Kelly has not officially been hired yet. No GM hasn't been hired yet for us, but he was in the building today. It should be him. I'm not sure why it has not happened yet. Maybe they're still working on some contract stuff. Maybe they're still trying to get something done with Ed Dodds or whatever. He's a pretty nice candidate, but I think with bringing back Pierce, Champ Kelly is the way to go. I think he is also, deserved to enter in the same way Antonio Pierce has, as we've talked about for months. But I think that it should be that duo. And then looks like Marvin Lewis will be hired in some capacity as an advisor, or whatever that may be, with us in the near future. I believe he's still officially at Arizona State University, but it should not be too hard to get him to come over here. And he is, of course, former head coach of the Bengals, former linebackers coach as well for a long time, and defensive coordinator. He won the Coach of the Year in 2009. Was with the Bengals, with some good times, some bad times. But it makes sense, to hire him here. He is kind of an older guy, but he's not. He'll be helping Pierce, which he already did during the season, and it makes sense to bring him in, or I guess someone that Pierce is familiar with. It should be a good hire. Now, also, the Raiders have. I'm not sure if it's official yet. I don't think it is official yet, but the Raiders have fired Bo Hardegree. I thought maybe there's a chance he'd come back as a quarterback coach. Maybe we would retain him in that fashion, but that's not going to be happening. He's going to be moving on. Of course, we already knew we were going to get a new offensive coordinator, so that's not the question. The question was, would he come back and quarterback coach, which is not going to happen. So we know we have to get a new offensive coordinator, which is going to be a huge hire, because assuming we keep Champ Kelly and Pierce, that seems like the easy options, right, to retain who we already had. We still have a huge hire at offensive coordinator, because that can determine if we're good next year or not. Of course, offensive line coach still has to happen, and now quarterback coach. We'll see what else kind of happens. I'm hoping we retain Edgar Bennett at wide receiver coach, Kennedy Palomalo at running back coach, assistant offensive line coach Cameron Clemens. Outside of that, if I'm forgetting anyone, I would, I could see us getting some new offensive staff members. Of course, Pierce was here the last 2 years. Of course, Champ Kelly was here the last 2 years, but they didn't bring in their own guys. These are still McDaniels' guys, even though they were here at the same time. It was on their decision, so they may still make some changes there. But defensively, I expect everyone to stay. Patrick Graham, obviously, unless the Seattle Seahawks offer him their head coaching job, in which case, congrats to him. But looks like the defense, we're staying where it's at. Offense is going to be changing, and hopefully for the better, right? We still have to do better on offense. We know that. Now, offensive coordinator is going to be a huge hire. Is it Cliff Kingsbury? Who is it going to be? The options have not really been talked about, really out there. There hasn't been that much word on who we're actually looking for. Just hired a head coach, just hired a GM, and that was not, that was obviously prioritized above offensive coordinator. But now we should see some offensive coordinator candidates come about. I love Cliff Kingsbury. He's already getting an interview with the Chicago Bears, so clearly the NFL does have interest in him as an offensive coordinator, because he did do good calling plays with the Cardinals, and I would love him, honestly. I would love to get him, as I mentioned previously in a video before, but that would be a great hire, I think, personally. Whoever it is has to be great at calling the plays, has to utilize the talent that we have. Of course, Devontae Adams, of course, Joey Myers. The whole offseason, we're going to talk about how Trey Tucker and Michael Mayer are going to break out. I can already see it coming for the next 7 months. We're going to talk about that. So hopefully it actually pans out, because it makes all the sense in the world for them to actually have a breakout year. Hopefully the new offensive coordinator can get that done. Now, another subject, Josh Jacobs, will he come back? I'm still not going to resign him unless it's a team-friendly deal. I still think it makes sense to move on from him. Last year was the opposite for me. I wanted him back, but this year, Zamir White played well when he was starting. I still want to draft a running back, but unless Jacobs takes a team-friendly deal, like a 2-year deal, let's say $16 million, I would do that. Of course, if we do that, I would still want to play Zamir White in the rotation with Josh Jacobs. Not like how it was before with just Josh Jacobs and not much of anyone else, because Josh Jacobs is kind of worn down at this point, doing that for 5 years. But hopefully Zamir White gets his burn next year, no matter who is also here at running back. So this offseason is going to be fun. Of course, have some hype going into it. Got the head coach we wanted, assuming we're going to get the GM we wanted. And we'll see. Offensive coordinator has to happen. Some new offensive staff members have to happen. But free agency, a lot of money. Draft, about average draft capital, 13th overall. What's going to happen at quarterback? Obviously, going to keep O'Connell, but is he going to start? We'll see what we can kind of get. Maybe we're going to trade up. Maybe take a quarterback in the second round. Maybe just take one at 13th overall. Trade for one, sign for one. Although I don't prefer that. I prefer drafting one. Going to be a long off season. I'll be back with more videos. But for now, Pierce is official. Still waiting on Champ Kelly. Or whoever the GM is going to be. Anyway, that's my reaction to the Raiders hiring head coach Antonio Pierce. I'm Arto, and thank you for watching.